Guys, I'm sorry this took a little bit longer than usual, but I have been down with a nasty cold and I have just started to get my voice back, so let's talk about my most anticipated films of 2015, which is a crazy year filled with, hopefully, amazing, awesome entertainment. Now, I'm not going to cover every humongous thing. I'm just going to talk about some of the major ones I'm looking forward to, and I'm not going to talk about them for too long, otherwise I'm going to be sitting here for an hour. But first off, Jupiter Ascending, the Wachowskis' next film that was pushed back. I'm very curious about this movie, and I'm always curious to see what they've done, but I haven't really loved a movie they've done since The Matrix, in all honesty. Next on my list is a little independent horror film called It Follows. Now, I'm not going to tell you the plot of this movie just in case you don't know the plot of the movie, because the plot of the movie is pretty incredible. Lost River is Ryan Gosling's directorial debut. Now, for that reason, I'm curious to see what he's done. I'm not saying it's going to be great. I don't even know. It could be really terrible, but from what I've heard from the Cannes Film Festival, everyone hated it. But Cannes Film Festival hates everything. And then for a while, it wasn't getting a theatrical release and going straight to VOD, and now it is going to be in a few theaters while also being in VOD in April. I'm looking forward to seeing what he did behind the camera. Furious 7 I'm looking forward to simply because the last two Fast and Furious movies have been a lot of fun, and I'm really curious to see how they assemble this movie, not just from James Wan's perspective as a director of action, but how they handle the whole Paul Walker situation. That's really what I'm curious to see how they do and if they can pull it off. I'm really hoping this movie's successful because they went through a lot of problems in the production, obviously, and I'm pulling for this movie. And there's this little movie coming out called Avengers Age of Ultron. I'm not sure if too many people have heard about this one. I know it's from a small studio called Marvel, and it features a lot of comic book characters that maybe are not entirely known, but I have a feeling it could be pretty good. And it's directed by this guy named Joss Whedon. I don't really know if he's ever done anything in the past, but I'm hoping it's good. Mad Max Fury Road looks pretty insane. If you've seen any of the trailers, it looks like it's crazy. I mean, what is going on in this movie? But it all looks amazing, and I'm really hoping that the actual story is just as cool as the visuals are, because when you watch the trailer, it blows you away with the look and the feel of it, but you don't really know much about the story. You're not really told that much even about what's going on in the film. It's just kind of like these amazing visuals, and I'm hoping, since the original director from the original Mad Max trilogy is returning with Tom Hardy, and I'm hearing Gibson has like a little cameo. That'd be really cool if he did. I don't know. I will have to see, but I am really looking forward to seeing Mad Max Fury Road, and I'm hoping it delivers because the trailer certainly did. Tomorrowland is Brad Bird's next film with George Clooney. I'm very intrigued by the trailer. I'm intrigued by the fact that Brad Bird's directing it because the man hasn't made a bad film yet. I'm very excited to see what he brings to this movie. I don't really know much about it, but it definitely entices me. And then there's this one little independent movie. It's with dinosaurs and this guy named Chris Pratt, I think, and it's called Jurassic World. I hear it's a sequel. You know, it could be good. I don't know. It could be terrible, but, you know, not a lot of people are talking about this one. And, alright, in all seriousness, I've been hearing about Jurassic Park 4 for like 10 years. Even more than that, I think. I mean, this movie's been in development and in so many different hands. It's cool to see it finally happening, and I'm really hoping it delivers. Now, there's a few movies on this list that I'm anticipating, but I'm still skeptical about, and one of those is Terminator Genisys. I don't really think this movie looks that great. I think it actually looks kind of terrible. So, I don't know, but I do want to see it. I want to see what they're doing. And then, of course, there's Ant-Man, which I recently did a trailer review for. Not really a mind-blowing trailer, but not a bad trailer. Looks fun, looks entertaining. I'm very curious to see how the film plays out after the success of Guardians of the Galaxy. They can obviously take a very strange story, like a more unorthodox comic book story, and make it work, and I'm hoping they can. Also in the category of anticipating but skeptical is The Fantastic Four. We haven't seen a single thing about this movie. We just heard a couple story tidbits, and apparently Dr. Doom's a blogger, which is it's terrible, in all honesty. That's a terrible idea. And there hasn't been a single good Fantastic Four movie, especially not the one from the 90s, nor the two newer ones. They all suck, so let's see if they can make a good one. I love Miles Teller. Michael B. Jordan's very talented. I'm hoping that it can be good. Who knows? But not a single photo, trailer, nothing. Continuing in the category of anticipated but skeptical, the Goosebumps movie. Why is this on my list? Because I grew up reading these books, I grew up watching a television show, that's all. For all I know, this movie is gonna suck so hard. But I am very curious to see if it does, or if it could be really fun, who knows? It's got Jack Black in it, so that's a guaranteed good movie. Not really, but you know, whatever. Still continuing in the category of anticipated but skeptical, The Visit, M. Night Shyamalan's next film. Now, why am I anticipating this? Because it was made for like $200,000. It's a very low-budget independent thriller financed almost entirely by Shyamalan, which is cool because it's kind of like he's going back to his roots. It's a thriller that takes place in this country house. And, you know, I'm always slightly hopeful when it comes to him. His movies lately have all been terrible. In all honesty, they've been terrible. Like, yes, he is the director who initially inspired me to get into film criticism and into filmmaking, but his movies as of late, I have to admit, they're bad. They're not good, but I'm really hoping that he can still pull something good out of them. And it's nice to see him going back to a non-CGI fest, a very low-budget thriller. Hopefully, it can be good. The Walk, directed by Robert Zemeckis, is a film with Joseph Gordon-Levitt about a man scaling the Twin Towers. This is apparently something that actually happened, and this is something that I'm anticipating because of the director. The trailer looks really good. The poster is also really cool. Now, there's an untitled Tom Hanks film coming out this year that's directed by Steven Spielberg. Need I say anything else? Is there anything else I have to say? No, there isn't. I'm hoping it's great. Odds are it's gonna be great. Anticipated yet skeptical, the Peanuts movie. I grew up with Snoopy and Charlie Brown. I read the original comic strips. I have some of the original comic strips that my dad gave me from when he was a child. I grew up with the Charlie Brown and Snoopy show in the 80s. I absolutely adore Charlie Brown and Snoopy and all that. I grew up with that, and I'm hoping this movie can be just as good, if not better, than those original TV shows and the comic strip. And if it's made with care and it's funny, then it will be. But I'm also worried because, you know, it's something that's close to my heart, and Hollywood has a habit of trashing those things. The new Bond film, Spectre, I don't have to say anything. I mean, it's the next Bond film. It's directed by Sam Mendes once again. Very rare for a director from a previous Bond film, nowadays anyway, to take over and do it again. I mean, Martin Campbell directed two. He did GoldenEye and then Casino Royale, two of the best. He launched two Bonds very successfully. And originally, you know, like back in the 60s with Sean Connery, a lot of the same directors did it back then. But nowadays, it's more rare for a director to come on and do another one. So I'm really hoping that Sam Mendes can knock it out of the park again because I loved Skyfall. It was a very good Bond movie. And here's a movie that not a lot of people are talking about. The Martian, directed by Ridley Scott, starring Matt Damon, is about an astronaut stranded on Mars. That's all I know, but the director and the stars that are involved with this movie make me excited about it, as well as the plot. Ridley Scott, science fiction-y, space, anything like that, yes, give it to me. Sicario, I may be pronouncing that incorrectly, but this is Denis Villeneuve's next film, also with Roger Deakins as cinematographer, my favorite cinematographer, so of course, I'm excited to see what that is, and I'm hoping it's great. I believe Emily Blunt is the star, which is also an awesome thing. The Hateful Eight, Quentin Tarantino's next film, originally shelved because the script leaked, and now it's going to be released. They're making it, and yeah, Quentin Tarantino. It's a Quentin Tarantino movie. Are you not anticipating it? Because you should be. Mission Impossible 5. Yes, Mission Impossible 5. They're still making these because, believe it or not, they get better, oddly. And I think a lot of that is due to Tom Cruise's idea that each film needs to have a different director. So the franchise always feels new and fresh with each one. And I'm really hoping the next one is just as good as the fourth, if not better. And last but not least, Star Wars. Star Wars. There's a Star Wars movie coming out this year. Guys, those are some of my most anticipated films for this year. I'd like to know, what are some of your most anticipated films for this year? There's going to be a lot of indie films that I don't even know about. You know, like last year, Whiplash and Birdman just came out of nowhere. At the beginning of the year, I didn't know what in the world those were. There's going to be tons of films towards the end of the year that'll probably be on my top of the year list that I haven't even heard of yet because, you know, indie films don't get as much marketing. But as for the films that I know about that are coming out this year, those are some of the ones I'm most excited about. What are your guys? Let me know below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And if you like this, you can click right here and get Stuckmanized.